In 7.3, we're learning how to solve equations using addition and subtraction. All right, so the first thing you need to know is some of the hints or some of the tools that we use to solve these equations. The first one is that we must use the inverse operation to solve for the variable. So whatever side the variable's on, I need to get everything else to cancel out and go to the other side. And I do that by using opposite or inverse operations. All right, so I'll give you a minute just to write all of that down, and then we'll solve this equation. With the equation x plus 24 equals 30, I need to get x by itself. Well, right now, I have a positive 24 on the same side. So how do I get rid of it? I do the opposite. I subtract 24, which, does everybody agree? 24 minus 24 is 0, right? So I got it to cancel, but whatever I do to one side of the equation, I must do the exact same thing to the other side. And I get x equals 6. Now, I can go back and check my solution by plugging it back into the original and seeing if it works out. Is it true that 6 plus 24 is 30?
Yes.
Okay, so I would say 30 equals 30, and I would check it out. And that's how I would check my solution. But x equals 6 is the solution. Now, it's important, guys. Now, you might say, well, I could have done that in my head. That's easy. Okay, I understand that. But remember, I'm teaching you a concept here. I'm not testing your mental math abilities. So if you were to do a problem like this in your head, you would not get any points on a test or a quiz for completing that problem correctly. Because I'm not looking for whether or not you can do it in your head. I want to see the steps to solve an equation. Because I can promise you this. The ones that we're about to do that you would see on your quiz or your test, the ones that you'll see in pre-algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2, these equations, they're not ones that you can do in your head, and you need to learn the process, okay? So that's why that's important. All right, now in example 1, we're solving for x. So we have x plus 13 equals 46. So we need to get 13 to cancel out and move it to the other side. How would you cancel out positive 13? What would you need to do?
You subtract.
You need to subtract.
13.
Very good.
13 and 46 minus 13.
Very good. Subtract 13 from both sides, and it cancels on the side that x is on, and we have x equals 33. That's our answer. Now we need to check it. When we check it, we plug it back in to the original, 33, where x is in the original equation. And is it true that 33 plus 13 is 46?
Yes.
So I would say 46 equals 46, and it checks out. Now, another thing, what was I about to say? Check your solution. I forgot. I'll remember in a minute, I'm sure. Okay, so opposite operations to solve for x. All right, now in example 2, we have a subtraction equation, but we're going to solve it in a very similar way, okay? So we have x minus 18 equals 35. Well, how could you get negative 18 to cancel out? What do you need to do, Kevin?
Make it positive.
You need to add 18, okay? So negative 18 plus 18. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. It cancels. Negative 18 plus 18 is 0. And I have x equals 53. That's my answer. But I'm not done yet because I need to go back and check. Oh, what I was going to say is you can use your calculators in this chapter. All right, I know last chapter was no calculators, so from here on out you are allowed to use your calculators. All right, so now we plug it back into the original. And it is true that 53 minus 18 is 35. So I would say 35 equals 35, and it checks out. Okay, so x equals 53 was the answer. All right, any questions? Any questions? Okay, now, what if I had a problem like this? Okay, so now I have 16 plus a plus 5 equals 25. Well, this one is different because on one side of the equation, do I have two terms that I could combine?
Yes.
What? 16 plus 5. So before I start moving numbers from one side of the equation to the other, I need to make sure that all of my like terms are combined. So 16 plus 5 is 21. 21 plus A equals 25. Now what do I need to do? Now what do I do?
Subtract 21.
Subtract 21 from both sides, and I get A equals 4. Okay, so sometimes there's some terms on one side of the equation that you can combine first. That's where combining like terms will come into play here. All right, and if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for 7.3.